All right, so continuing on from my first introduction video for this new spot check series, I ended down here at the Boise Bike Park. And this is a place that I wanted to do the first spot check because it was a big reason of why I moved to the area and a place I ride all the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow Braden Bringhurst. Most of you guys probably know him as Biker Braid, and we're gonna show you guys all the lines from beginner to advanced in the pump tracks and get a couple of interviews from Dustin Zeiss, who's the main trail builder, and we'll finish it off with a jam session with some of the locals. So come along for the ride. So I'm gonna start off on the very beginner line. It's super easy, rollers, tabletop jumps, just a great spot to get started when you arrive. Nice little rollers, you can turn them into jumps or just manual roller. Nice and easy. And that's the beginner line following Braden. All right, so a cool thing about the Boise Bike Park is it's got pretty much something for everyone. Starting out on the rider's right is like basic beginner line that we just rode, and now we're gonna make our way down in between the intermediate and beginner. And yeah, it's got similar start, basically drops in to some actual doubles. Nice dragon tail, following Biker Braid down through. First slip, straight one, another straight jump. Takes you right down into a final left-hand hip. And that is the beginner-mediate line. All right, so moving over from the beginner-mediate, we're gonna go down just straight intermediate. And this line is where it starts to get a little more tricky. We've got some wall rides, some gap wood jumps, and it's still, they're not super big, but you definitely wanna start out small if you're just warming up and make your way over. So here's a little run through. Coming into a nice right-hand wall ride. Got some cool lines. There's options all throughout the whole park. Nice long roller right into the first wood lip. Second wall ride right-hander. Another nice straight jump. Do another roller, left-hand hip. And finishing off with another wall ride into the boner log. And that is the intermediate line. All right, moving over to the advanced expert line. We're gonna start with the advanced. It starts out with some nice dirt jumps and then flows into the expert line, into the whale tails, and we're gonna take a little right hand side hit. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, this place has got a lot of options. So it's always fun to just pick and choose what you wanna ride. Starting out with a nice long and low into a little tabletop-ish style jump. Dirt, wood, long and low. Straight into the first whale tail. Nice rollers into the second wall. Braden is on the juice. Into the wall. Ending it out with a nice slight hit. And for the last line before we start the session with all the boys is going to be the expert line. And yeah, this one starts out with a long and low into wood lips and funnels right back into that advanced line that we rode before, but with a different option at the end. So
all right,
here we go. And that is all the lines here at the Boise Bike Park. right, so some of the things that I really love about this park is its location. It's right next to downtown Boise, right at the foothills, so it's a great place to ride after you go hit the trails, or before you head up into the mountains, you can hit the jumps down here. So yeah, just a great location, and the support it gets from the city. They've got a full-time builder, which is Dustin Zeiss. He takes care of this place, makes sure it's always running top notch. They've got sprinklers that kick on throughout the day. I think it's like a couple times a day, but I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Dustin. That way he can kind of explain some more about this bike park and all the rad stuff that's going on here.
My name's Dustin Zeiss. I am a bike skills park and machine operator for the City of Boise. I basically maintain the park, the jumps, trails. So if you're kind of a more of a trail rider person, but you like to hit dirt jumps, there's a ton of trails right up above the bike park, so you can kind of get a little bit of both. You can warm up on the jumps and go ride, or you can go ride and kind of cool down on the jumps, or whatever is your cup of tea. So the bike park is kind of geared towards more of hardtail dirt jumpers or BMX bikes that you can carry speed on. Like our slope style line is a little bit flat compared to some slope style lines where there's a big elevation drop and you can just carry speed on whatever bike you want. You can still ride trail bikes on the majority of the trails here. They're built for everything. I would say anything above the dark green line is a little bit difficult to make it through on a trail bike, but there's people out here that do everything on trail bikes. One of my favorite parts of the bike park job is that I get to, for one, ride the jumps, but then I get to make them kind of the way that I feel like they should be, like trying to make them flow better. My ideal of a good jump line is that you don't really have to pedal or brake too much, and that's kind of what I'm shooting for with what we do with the park.
Nice.
Is just to try to make it to that point where if you make one feature, you should be able to make the next feature without having to do anything to change your momentum, whether you're slowing down or speeding up. So the Boise Bike Park has 2 paved pump tracks. One is a beginner pump track. The other one is a more intermediate pump track. The intermediate is a little bit bigger rollers and bigger berms, a little bit tighter berms. The beginner one is kind of smaller rollers that are a little farther apart and more friendly for little kids on striders and whatnot. There's some cross-country trails across the park, kind of going through the trees. And then we have 4 slope style lines. There's like a green, what people call a dark green line, which is the green line is basically just rollers and little dirt doubles. The dark green line goes into some beginner size wooden ramps, and those are kind of lead you into the blue line, which is some both sides wall rides. It has some dirt lips, it has some wood lips. The blue line is my favorite one. I think it just has a good variety and it's really fun. It is a little bit technical for a blue line, but I think that's a good step up for people that are trying to work their way to the black line. The black line has kind of 2 lines also. There's an advanced and a expert. The advanced line is mostly dirt lips that lead you into a whale tail. I guess there's 2 dirt lips that lead you into the whale tail that shares with the expert line. It goes into a big wall ride after that, and then it splits again and goes to the right, and then there's another wall ride to 2 big wooden booters at the bottom. Another cool thing about the park is that you can pretty much be any age or level of rider and have an awesome time out here. There's little kids on striders that are like 1 to 2 years old. If they can walk, they're out here pushing around on their little push bikes, to like pro level riders that come out here and really style the place up and make it look easy. So the best time to ride is usually from early spring until late fall. Once we start getting snow, it's kind of hard to do a lot out here. Like I said, we try to keep it open as much as possible, so if and when it dries out, we'll open everything back up. Another part of the cool thing about the asphalt pump tracks is they're generally open. So even if it's snowy and wet or whatever out here, people can still come out and play in the pump tracks and have a good time.